Welcome back to Folk Solo Sports Show. All right, let's talk about LeBron saying that Tom Brady isn't the greatest athlete of all time. He thinks Brady's the greatest football player of all time, but not the greatest athlete, being that football players can't play both sides of the field. I mean, they can, but you don't see anybody doing that, you know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure if somebody wanted to actually do that, they would allow it. All right, but he's saying because they can't play both sides of the field, that a NFL player, a football player, cannot be the greatest athlete of all time. All right. Uh, no, just stop it. LeBron needs to stop it with this, bro. That is complete crazy talk. That is nonsense. It is. It is insane for him to say. All right, because you got. This is why. Okay. When you talk about athletic, that means now Tom Brady, of course, is not. Okay, he should not be called the greatest athlete of all time. Not at all. Okay, but to say it can't be a football player is crazy, and here's why. When you think of athleticism, you have to think of everything. Okay, running, jumping, catching, literally almost everything. You got to think of all those categories, okay? And for LeBron to say it can't be a football player. Now, I don't think it can be obviously any football player, okay? It can't be more than likely it can't be a quarterback because he's not, basketball players. If you want to just make the argument between basketball and basketball players still do have to have good catching skills to catch passes, lay it up, catch passes, and shoot with no dribble. They still have to be able to catch the ball. So it can be a football player, but it can't be a quarterback because, yeah, he still has to run sometimes. He throws. He rarely ever has to get through people. Okay, so it can't be a quarterback. It can't be a defense or offensive lineman, even though they're really athletic, but not most athletic. Okay, a football player can be the greatest athlete of all time. And this is why LeBron is wrong. It has to be, if you're talking football, it's going to have to be either a running back or a wide receiver who gets that greatest athlete of all time title over a basketball and over a football player. It could be a safety or a cornerback too, but they're disqualified because they're really only worried about getting the tackles. It's rare that they get interceptions and have to run the ball and jump and do all of this the other way. So it has to be a wide receiver or a running back. Good wide receivers and running backs are more athletic. When you think of the greatest receivers and running backs of all time, they're more athletic than any basketball player that was ever thought of. More athletic than LeBron, more athletic than Jordan, any basketball player you can think of. Because why? Because they have to do everything. They have to run, they have to catch, they have to jump, and basketball players do all that too. But here's why they're more athletic. Football players, wide receivers, and running backs in particular are more athletic. Because why they are doing it, unlike basketball players, there are few to basketball's many penalties why they're doing it from people having contact with them. Football players have to do all that stuff and still try to run through other people, try to get around other human beings. Like, come on, bruh. That is way more athletic than having to just cross somebody up, to physically have to run through somebody and stay on your feet, and keep running. And it's not just one person, okay? And it's not just 5 people, like on a basketball court on the opposing team you're trying to go up against. Just 5 people. You have to try to get past 11 defensive players. 11. You got to try to get past 11 men who are also really athletic. Not more than likely athletic is a wide receiver or a running back, but you have to try to get through 11 men who are also athletic and just as strong, some stronger than you are. You cannot tell me. And this is what I said. Now, I would have put him in a debate, and not just because he was a Stiller, but because the stuff he did. But he's not in the debate because he's not a wide receiver or a running back, and it's rare that he has to show all of those things that we talked about: running, jumping, catching, maneuvering. It's rare that he has to do all that. But Troy Polamalu, okay, I'm not saying he's the most athletic player of all time, sports player of all time, but him diving to the ground, and literally people have to, and not just once, people, and this is a safety doing this. Now we're going to get to the receivers. Dive into the ground, and the ball, I don't even know if a receiver has done this. Dive into the ground, and literally the ball is not even an inch away from the ground, and he somehow he dies, one hand out, gets his fingertips under that ball before it hits the turf, and they have to replay that about 15 to 20 times over to call the play. And then after everybody made a decision, they say yes, it was a catch. And he did this, I believe, 2 times. One against the San Diego Chargers, and another time, I can't remember right off the back, but I'm pretty sure he has done that more than once. So that's just a safety. When you start getting to the receiver and the running back who has to try to get past people all the time and try to catch, jump, run all the time, are you serious? So Barry Sanders can't be considered the greatest athlete of all time, who was literally juking people left and right, 4, 5, 6 defense of people trying to come get a tackle on him, and he is literally just showing you how he breaks ankles. You can't consider Barry Sanders the greatest athlete of all time. You can't consider Lynn Swann the greatest athlete of all time, who took ballet classes to be able to perform all those acrobatic catches. You can't consider, it's just a long list. The list just goes on and on and on of running backs and wide receivers. LaDainian Tomlinson. You can't consider him the greatest athlete of all time. Walter Payton, Jim Brown, Jerry Rice. It just goes on and on. And here's something even recent. DeAndre Hopkins with 3 defenders on him. Kyler Murray throws it up, and he jumps and catches the ball. Look, this is what we talking about. He had to run, he jumped and caught the ball, and did it over 3 defenders. How often do you see a basketball player dunk on 3 people? It's usually 1, 2 at most. He caught the ball over 3 people. They had triple coverage on this man and caught the ball in the end zone and won the game. Okay? So, yes, a football player can absolutely be the greatest athlete of all time, and it will have to be a receiver or a running back. All right? It can't be any other position, because receivers and running backs are the main ones doing all those categories. Running, jumping, catching, blocking. They literally do everything. Okay? So, yes. Football players, more than likely, are more athletic than basketball players. and a football player, I believe, will go down if you really start cooking up a list. Is you'll have more greater athletes as football players than basketball players. All right, this is Folk Solo Sports Show. Let me know what y'all think. Do y'all agree with LeBron or do y'all agree with me? And this is not this don't do that, because don't come and comment, because you played the sport. Just keep it real, man. Just keep it real. Whether you play basketball and never play football, just keep it real. All right, let me know what y'all think. Like, subscribe, get in the comment section. I'll get back with y'all. Peace.